Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about ratios and proportions. So what's my goal in this video presentation? What about ratios? What do you mean by ratio, and where we can use this ratio, and how to simplify a ratio, and what is the difference between ratio and proportions? Ratios and proportions. Proportions are different from ratios. So we are going to deal with what is a proportion and some important properties of proportions and how to use proportion and when to use the proportions. And finally there will be one example applying these properties. Okay, what is a ratio? A ratio is a comparison of two numbers. It can be represented in three different ways. For example, A to B is also a ratio, or A is to B, or A upon B, A over B, because a ratio is a fraction. When it is a fraction, the denominator should not be equal to 0, so B cannot be 0. So ratio are expressed in the simplest form, because already I told you it's a fraction. Is there any common divisor? Divide by that. It should be in the simplest form. There should not be any common divisors between A and B. If there is any common divisor, divide by the common divisor. That's very, very important. So ratios always in the simplest form. Okay? How to use ratios? The ratio, for example, the ratio of boys and girls in a class is 12:11. Let us assume like this. There are 12 boys and 11 girls. What it says? There could be just 12 boys and 11 girls. You can say like that. Or there could be 24 boys and 22 girls. Because we are only ratio only there. We don't know how many boys are there, how many girls are there. If there are 12 boys, there will be 11 girls. If there are 24 boys, there should be 22 girls. If there are 120 boys, then there should be 110 girls. Okay? It's only ratio. Never say total number of students in the class. It's only a ratio. Okay? It's different from actual numbers. The ratio of length and width of this rectangle is 4:1. So what it says? It may be 4 centimeters, 1 centimeter, or it can be 8 centimeters and 2 centimeters, or it can be 12 centimeters and 3 centimeters. We don't know the actual length. It's only a ratio. The ratio of cats and dogs at my home is 2:1. That means for 2 cats, when there are 2 cats, there will be 1 dog. So 1 dog has to fight with the 2 cats. How many dogs and cats do I have? We cannot answer this question because we don't know how many dogs and cats are at home. But we know only the ratio 2:1. If there are 20 cats, then there will be 10 dogs will be there. We know only the ratio. How to simplify a ratio? In the previous example, we have seen 12 boys and 11 girls. 12 over 11. There is no common divisors. It's already simplified. And ratio of rectangle length to breadth is length and width is 4:1. The cats and dogs is 2/1. So ratio can be expressed A over B. If there is any common divisor for both numerator and denominator, then divide by that. Okay? For example, assume there are 12 cats and 6 dogs. How to simplify? 6 is a common divisor for both 12 and 6. So divide by 6. Divide by the common factor. So you get 2/1. A person's arm is 80 centimeters and he is 2 meters tall. What is the ratio between the length of his arm and the total height? Here, centimeter and meter, there are 2 different units are there. You have to compare them, means you must make them into same unit. That is very important here. Make both into centimeters. Arm over the height. Arm is 80 centimeter and the height is 2 meter. So 2 meters equal to 200 centimeters. Now simplify. You will get 80 over 200 because the ratios are free from units. When both are same unit, you can remove the unit. Then simplify, you get 2 over 5. That's the actual ratio between the arm and height. Okay, are you understanding now? One more. Using the same example with the unknown m here. Using the meter, where m stands for meters here. 0.8 meter converted 80 centimeter to meter. Then you get 0.8 over 2. To remove the decimal, you have to multiply by 10. Here also multiply by 10. You get 8 upon 20. Then there is a common divisor. 4 will divide both. You have 2 over 5. So you can convert into both into centimeters or both into meters. All same. If the numerator and denominator do not have the same units, it may be easier to convert to the smaller unit. So we don't have to work with the decimals. 3 centimeters, 12 meter. 12 meter to 1200 centimeter, 1 upon 400. 2 kilogram to 15 gram. Convert to kilogram into gram, then divide by the common divisor 5. Feet to inches. 1 feet equal to 12 inches. Then 10 is a common divisor, 6 upon 7. If both are in same unit, no need to do anything, convert. So 2 upon 8 divide by 2, 1 upon 4. So if they are the same unit, no need to do anything on it. Very easy. Some more examples. Here 4 is a common divisor. Sorry, not 8 is a common divisor. Here 40 itself is a common divisor. Here 2 is a common divisor. 3 is a common divisor. Here 9 is a common divisor. You can simplify. Now we move on to proportions. What is a proportion? A proportion is an equation that equates two ratios. For example, A over B equal to C over D. The ratios of dogs and cats were 3 over 2. If there are 6 dogs and there will be 4 cats, again 3 over 2, it can be written as 6 upon 4. So we have the proportion 3 over 2 equal to 6 over 4. Actually equivalent fractions, equal fractions. Properties of proportions. The cross multiplication must be equal. The cross multiplication, the cross product is one of the very important property in proportion that should be equal. Here AD equal to BC. Here if we multiply B and D, they are called means. If we multiply A and C, they are called extremes. The product of the means equal to product of the extremes. You multiply by D on both sides, D cancels on the right hand side, then you get like this. Then multiply by B on both sides, then B cancels on the left hand side, then you get AD equal to BC. There is a reciprocal property for proportion. If 3 over 2 equal to 6 over 4, it can be written as 2 over 3 equal to 4 over 6. Nothing wrong. Both sides reciprocal, same property holds good. So can you see it? If yes, can you think of why it works? How it works here? Cross multiplication is always true. 2 times 6 equal to 4 times 3. Here also 4 times 3 equal to 6 times 2. The cross multiplication. Using that property, we can solve for some unknowns. Cross product, you can solve for x. Here also 7 times x equal to 2 times 12. Then you can solve for x. You can reciprocal here the very first step itself. 2 over 7 equal to x over 12. Then solve it. Same answer you will get. Here also you can reciprocal first, then cross multiply. Otherwise directly cross multiply and solve for x. Okay? Is it easy? One example. Your car gets 30 miles per gallon. Your car gives you 30 miles per gallon. How many gallons of gas do you need to commute to school every day? If the school and your house is 5 miles away, so you have to travel 5 miles to school and 5 miles back home. So let x be the number of gallons we need per day. Then you have the proportion 30 over 1 gallon, 5 plus 5 miles over x gallons. We don't know the x, how many gallons we need. So this is the proportion. We are using the proportion property. This is given to you. 30 over 1 is given. Here 10 miles is already given. We don't know how many gallons of fuel needed. Then cross multiplication, removing the units, cross multiplication, you can solve for x. Okay? So per day you need 1/3 gallon. Per week, 1 day. We have week means 5 days school. We don't know how many gallons, t gallons. Here also cancelling the units, then cross multiplication, you get per week you need 5 over 3 gallons. So you need 5/3 gallons a week, which is about 1.67 gallons. If the price is given as $3.69 per gallon, how much it will cost? Again, 1 gallon, 3.69 gallon dollars, 1.67 gallons, how many dollars? Again proportion. Using the proportion cross multiplication, you get approximately $6. So you pay $6 a week just to get to school. What about the weekends? For example, you are traveling 10 miles at the weekend to a mall and come back with another 10 miles. What will be the cost? Use the proportion property. Again, the proportion property, then you will get it. Okay? I hope you are able to understand the ratio and proportion.